Class 8, welcome to your civics class. And in today's class, we are going to read about we are going to learn about the different organs of the United Nations. So, first, we are going to start with the first organ of the UNO, that is the General Assembly. So, let's start today's class. The United Nations has got 6 organs. The name of those organs are the General Assembly, the Security Council, Economic and Social Council, and your Secretariat, International Court of Justice, and one more is there, that is the Trusteeship Council. So these are the 6 organs of the United Nations. So let's start with the first organ, that is the General Assembly. General Assembly acts as the world parliament, or we call it world parliament, right? So every member state of the United Nations sends delegations of 5 members to it, but every member has just one vote only. Thus, the principle of equality of all nations is applied in this organization of General Assembly. It elects its own president for a term of 1 year only, and it meets for 2 months in a year, but an emergent session of the General Assembly can be called any time. So if there is any emergency, international emergency, or any urgency in that time, they can meet more than 2 session, right? Okay. Now the functions of the General Assembly: to admit new members to the United Nations on the recommendation of Security Council. So this is the first very important function of General Assembly, that General Assembly admits new member to the United Nations, but with the recommendation, with the consultation of Security Council. Secondly, to appoint the Secretary General of the United Nations, but same on the recommendation of Security Council. Third, to pass the annual budget of the United Nations and to fix the share of each member state to pay. Clear? So to pass the annual budget, their expenditures, and how many or how much amount to be paid by each member, that all decided by the General Assembly only. To draw the attentions of the Security Council whenever it finds that the peace of the world is endangered by the action of one or more states. Next is the second organ, that is the Security Council. Okay, before moving to the Security Council, let me tell you about the composition of the General Assembly. So composition means total strength of General Assembly. So total strength, there are 193 members are there in General Assembly. So all the member states are the members of the General Assembly. So total members are 193, and all 193 members are the members of General Assembly, right? Okay, now it meets in a regular, that in General Assembly the members meet regularly under the in the meeting session under a president elected from among the representatives of the member countries. General Assembly is like the parliament where all the discussions take place. In that sense, the UN would appear to be a very democratic. So United Nations is actually the organ, General Assembly, that acts as a world parliament, because world parliament, that is the forum, or that is the it's a forum in which the international issues and matters are taken, and the decision is taken, and that in the international issues and international matters, right? So it is an international forum, we can say. Okay, now come to the second organ, that is the Security Council. The Security Council is the most important organ of the United Nations. There are 2 types of members in the Security Council, which is point to be noted: permanent as well as non-permanent members. So non-permanent members, there are 10 non-permanent members, and the members are elected by the General Assembly for the 2 years on the regional basis. No country can be elected as a member immediately on the expiry of its term. So this is point to be noted. Now let's talk about the permanent members and a special power given to that permanent member, that is a veto power. So now 5 permanent members are USA, UK, France, Britain, UK is Britain only, USA, UK, that means Britain, France, Russia, and China, People's Republic. So these are the 5 big countries, big 5 or great 5 countries who are the permanent members of the United Nations. Now come to the veto power. What is veto power? So veto power is what? It's a negative vote given by one of the permanent member of the Security Council. Clear? So it's a negative vote or no vote given by the one of the permanent members of the Security Council. So that is veto power. Now the decision in the Security Council are taken by majority. Whatever the decision is to be taken, that is to be taken by majority, right? So but if any permanent member, so if any permanent member means there are 5 permanent members: China, Russia, USA, UK, and France. So any one of the member of these among these 5 permanent members says no or gives negative vote, or any permanent member disagrees to the decision of the Security Council, so that matter would not be considered. So it cannot be carried out even if all the members of all 4 members agree, right? So this is called veto power. So it's a special power of big 5 permanent members. Thus the Security Council can be crippled by exercise of veto power also by one of the permanent members. So veto power is like the heart trouble of the United Nations system. So veto power is very important. Now come to the functions of Security Council. It can investigate disputes and recommend ways and means for peaceful settlement. So if there is a dispute between 2 countries, so that international issue can be taken into that matter is taken, and the Security Council investigate that dispute and tries to settle down that matter peacefully, right? It can ask the fighting nations to settle their differences by peaceful means. For example, it may suggest to them mediations or arbitrations, right? Now second is it can impose an embargo, that means stoppage of trade, on nations that do not act according to the direction of Security Council. So all the member states, all 193 member states, they need to obey the obligations, rules and regulations of United Nations or UN Charter, right? So if they don't, then the Security Council can impose an embargo. So embargo means what? It's a stoppage of trade, stop in importing and exporting things on nations that who do not act according to the directions of the Security Council. So according to the directions of Security Council means according to the UN Charter, according to the codes of UN Charter, United Nations Charter. Okay, now it can order military action against a state which persists in disturbing the peace and security of the world. It can also expel a state from the membership of the UNO if it does not act according to the UN Charter. So this is clear that if any member state does not follow the UN rule or the codes written in the UN Charter, then the Security Council has the right to expel, to remove that member state. Next is it also recommends the admission of new member states to the United Nations organizations. As I already told you in the function of General Assembly, for the admission of new members, for the expulsion of the member states or the member. So General Assembly can give admission, but with the recommendation of on the recommendation of Security Council only, right? So the Security Council recommends the admission of new member states to the United Nations. Now next is the Economic and Social Council. The Economic and the Social Council, so there are 54 members. So the composition of the Economic and Social Council is that there are 54 members in this Economic and Social Council. Now these members are elected by General Assembly for 3 years. So the term is 3 years, and 1/3 of its members are retired after every year. And now the new members are elected by General Assembly only to fill the vacancies, right? To fill the vacant places or vacant seats, right? Now this council deals with the economic, social and cultural humanitarian problems. It tries to promote cooperation among member states in those areas of activities in order to secure lasting peace in the world. The council works under the supervision of General Assembly. It supervises the work of specialized agencies. So many specialized agencies are there, like WHO, World Health Organizations, UNICEF, UNESCO, ILO. So this Economic and Social Council supervises the work of these specialized agencies in the different fields, right? And it also supervises it also helps or tries to promote these social and economic cooperations among the member states in those areas to secure the long-lasting peace in the world, right? Now next is the Trusteeship Council. This council was established for the better administration of those territories. Just underline this sentence, very important. Was established for the better administration of those territories which were once in the possession of Germany, Italy, and Japan. Only for those territories, those areas, those countries, those regions, those countries who were once which were once in the possession of Italy, Germany, and Japan. The objective of this council is to help those territories or countries to attain their independence from the foreign rule or foreign ruler. 11 such territories were placed under UNO trusteeship immediately after the Second World War. It may be mentioned here that all such territories had become independent by 1994, and it is said that the Trusteeship Council is to be added there, that the Trusteeship Council is no more in working. That means it has fulfilled its aim, and that is why the Trusteeship Council has been suspended, right? So it's not given there, you just add this point. Now next is International Court of Justice. So it consists of the composition of International Court of Justice. It consists of 15 judges who are jointly elected by General Assembly and the Security Council. So the function of General Assembly and Security Council is to elect or jointly elect the judges of International Court of Justice. So there are total 15 judges. They are elected for 9 years. The judges are elected for 9 years. Their term is 9 years, and with 1/3 judges retiring after every 3 years. Now, no two judges should belong to one country. So one judge from one particular country, one country. The headquarters of the International Court of Justice. and the headquarter of the International Court of Justice is situated at Hague in Holland. So Holland is also known by Netherlands, right? Okay. Now the court, see the function of the International Court of Justice. The court gives legal opinion to any organ of the United Nations on request, but its opinion is not binding on the United Nations organs. The court also decides legal matters between two states, but it can do so only when both the parties agree to bring the issue before the court. We should be proud that Sri Bien Ran and Dr. Nagendra Singh of India served in International Court of Justice as the judges, with the latter remaining its president. Sri R.S. Pathak of our country was the last Indian to serve as a judge of the International Court of Justice. Okay, let's talk about the function of the International Court of Justice. So, as we all know that the International Court of Justice, it gives legal opinion to the organs of the United Nations on the request only, right? So, the International Court of Justice can give legal advice or opinion to any organ of the United Nations. Secondly, the court, International Court of Justice, that is the court, decides legal matter between states. So between states means between two states, if there is a dispute or if there is any international issue and both the parties, both the countries or the states agree to bring that issues to the before the court, before the International Court of Justice, then only the court decides legal matters between those states on that matter, on that issue, problems, right? Now next is there were many Indian judges also who served as the judge of the judges of the International Court of Justice. So here are the names: Sri B.N. Ran and Dr. Nagendra Singh, as well as the president of the president, Sri R.S. Pathak, who belonged to our country, India, was the last Indian to serve as a judge of the International Court of Justice. So we should be proud to be an Indian, right? Okay, now next is the sixth organ of the United Nations, that is the Secretariat. Now the next sixth organ is the Secretariat, which is an executive wing of the United Nations, and the Secretariat is headed by Secretary General, who acts as a de facto spokesperson or spokesman and the leader of the United Nations, right? The current Secretary General is Antonio Guterres, who belongs to Portugal, who took over from Ban Ki-moon. So Ban Ki-moon was the Secretary General who served as a Secretary General of the United Nations, or the Secretary General of the Secretariat in 2017. Now there are about 10,000 staff members selected from different countries working in the Secretariat. As international employees, they have to take an oath that they will not receive any instructions from their own country. They all work under the guidance and the command of the Secretary General. They help the United Nations to carry out its responsibilities as best as possible. So the composition, that the strength of when we talk about the composition of Secretariat, so there is one Secretary General, and under him there are 10,000 staff members, and this is the composition of the Secretariat. Now when we talk about the function of the Secretariat, so Secretariat, all the employees, 10,000 staff members, employees, they have to take an oath that they will do their work honestly and they will not receive any instructions from their countries and from the country own country, and they all will work under the guidance and the command of the secretary general, and they will help the United Nations, they will help out, they will figure out and help the United Nations to carry out its responsibility as best as possible. And to carry out the different decisions made by the organs of the United Nations, as well as to organize the different international conferences, right? Okay, now. Okay, children, I'm going to stop here only. I hope you have understood the chapter, right? Okay, now. See, children, after this 25th home assignment, there will be your second term examination, right? So I hope you all have got the syllabus for your second term examination. So all the very best for your second term examination. Do well and just go through the chapter thoroughly, right? Okay, so soon we'll meet in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. Thank you.